with David J. Maloney. This week, David talks to UFC fighter Brok Weaver and author Michael Hewes and illustrator Sarah Hewes with this month's guest band, Tyler Livingston and the Absolutes. Now, here's your host, David J. Maloney.
Welcome to everyone at home and in our studio audience to The Weekly Show. I am your host, David J. Maloney. To my right, filling in for the Mogiles while they're on tour, it is Tyler Livingston and the Absolute. Again, I want to express some special thanks to AA Productions for coming in on short notice and helping us with sound. Usually the Mogiles will produce their own. In the absence of the Mogiles, AA has stepped up, came in on short notice, hooked us up with some equipment, and phenomenal Josh, an excellent sound guy, and we're back in business. So it's been reported that the doomsday clock, which is used to gauge the likelihood of a man-made disaster, now reads only 2 minutes before midnight. Hopefully, we'll be surviving until this November 3rd when we all get to set our clocks back. It's hard to believe that almost 13 years ago, then Apple CEO Steve Jobs unveiled the very first iPhone, completely revolutionizing the way people ignore each other. In a jail in Spain, a prisoner was caught with a cell phone hidden in his rectum. Phone records show he made hundreds of butt dials. A cat that went missing in Gainesville, Florida 3.5 years ago has been found and returned to that cat's original owner. Of course, the owner was overjoyed at the reunion. The cat was like, whatever. If you've never seen The Weekly Show before, keep watching. We typically feature one local guest, somebody who you may already know or may want to know more about, and then one big name guest. Tonight, we've got two amazing guests lined up. One is a local fighter who just received his official UFC contract. Brok Weaver, you'll want to hear his story. Second, we've got a mother and son duo. Michael and Sarah Hewes are here to chat about their amazing new book, The Tempestuous Trial of Maybelline Merriweather. Stick around. We'll be right back. Mr. Livingston, I presume. Our first guest tonight has an incredible story to tell, from growing up on an Indian reservation in Alabama, all the way to achieving his official UFC contract, and with so much more to come. Please welcome UFC fighter, I know I'm going to say this wrong, Chatatuska, Brok Weaver. Now, where are you from originally?
I'm from McIntosh, yeah,
okay.
On the reservation.
And now, did you know your roots growing up as far as the whole Native American thing?
Yeah, I was in school through kindergarten. We went to an all-tour school called Reed's Chapel. It's actually still there. I actually made a gym out of it when I first started training. Out of the cafeteria part, I turned into a gym, trained some of our youth. But going to school, we had Indian Ed from kindergarten to 4th grade. It taught us how to, our language, obviously, how to bead, how to make weapons, just lightweight, how to make teepees. We done field trips to the Moa land, which is where we have our powwows occasionally. The best part about it, we forgot our language. A lot of when you get out of 4th grade and they actually cut it out after 4th grade for some reason, and now they don't have it all there anymore. And I think one of my grades is like one of the last ones to actually get it. And we just love getting out of math class and getting to get a break for 2 hours, really. And
well, it's like anything else in anybody. I think people, when there's a subject that they love, they tend to cling to it and absorb it more when it's taught. And so when you're saying getting out of math, then again, maybe it wasn't so much getting out of math as it was, this was your culture. This is something you wanted to learn. So you're saying they don't teach it in the schools anymore? They
don't teach it in the schools anymore. We moved from Reed's Chapel, and it was basically an all Moab school, and I guess racism or something maybe come. As kids, I really didn't know the idea when they moved us to the Borkin school, which is in McIntosh on 43. I don't know the reason that they moved us there, but coming, I guess it was they didn't want us to get special attention, or they didn't want them getting special attention. They just wanted the schools to mix, or maybe the school would run out of money and we couldn't get funds anymore because we're only a state recognized tribe. That's the whole goal of my goals, is to help federal recognize my tribe, get my tribe known as a federal tribe around the world, because we have so many bad names being half breeds and stuff like that, so.
See, the thing is I didn't know about the whole cultural, education thing up to the 4th grade thing. And when you were telling me about it, I'm like, wow, this is great. This is a wonderful thing. I was thinking that's so fantastic. And then you tell me they don't do it anymore. It would be great if somebody started an initiative to try to get that back into the schools. Yeah. Now let's jump forward a little bit. Your boxing journey started when you were like 15, right? 12. Now, you had some, cousins who were already semi-pro?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, I had, actually he's my cousin, but we called him Uncle Nick. He's a local police officer on the reservation. He was a 10-0 pro at the time, boxer. But his amateur career, he actually boxed Roy Jones Jr. 6 times. And I know y'all had Roy, then y'all had Roy.
Yeah, Roy was our first and second episodes.
Yeah, and my uncle actually beat Roy, I think, it was like 3-3 or something, and Roy still there to the day, man. Your uncle was, I could hit him as hard as I could, and he would never stop coming. He's like, the chins y'all have, and the people, he's like, he boxed a couple other people. He's like, everybody had a chin, everybody had heart, and no matter how hard you hit us, we would still keep coming. He's like, I think your Uncle Nick still keeps coming today, and that's a big thing, was boxing around there. And when he opened it up when I was 12, he was trying to come back in and make a career again out of it. And he had a couple kids, but he had some headache problems or something, so he had to stop. The doctor said he couldn't do it, so he closed our gym down because we couldn't get the funds in it. And I took a break. I didn't box from 13 to 15, and my older cousins were pro fighters. They weren't semi-pro. They were pro fighters. They just never went amateur, because back then you could, if you had a couple matches in tough man contests, you could go and get your pro license if you paid like $200. So they jumped and went pro, and one of them, James Orso, he was the big fighter around the reservation at the time. He was knocking people out left and right. I think before he retired, he was 7-4. He fought on the pay-per-view here in Biloxi at Blood and Sand when Bobby Lashley and Bob Sapp actually fought. That was a big card. He fought on it on TV, and it was like, it was a big deal at the time. And then he retired after that because he had some knee injuries, but he was still trying to get back in it when he started training me. And man, I was 15 years old, sparring with 2-ounce gloves, getting knocked out by these dudes. These dudes are ruthless. They ain't show no mercy. But it helped make me, because I was like, man, if I could stand in the ring with these guys that's 20 pounds bigger than me, pro fighters, ain't nobody gonna be able to stop me in amateur. But I lost a lot in amateur too, and it was just live and learn, every fight. My amateur career went up and down. I had to get, they quit on me, so I had to go find another team and then another team, and I've been bouncing around, traveling, and just since I was 15 years old, man. I'm 27 now. I ain't really took no break at it.
Well, Brok, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to break for a minute, and then we'll come back and we'll finish speaking with Brok Weaver. And we are back. We're speaking with Brok Weaver. So you had some training with the late great UFC star Josh Saman.
Yes.
Correct? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, I met Josh back when I fought one of his guys, Socrates Pierre. He was in his corner, and I was 4-0 at the time, and Socrates was my biggest. He was a big Haitian guy, undefeated, killing everybody. I was super underdog, had all my people there in Pensacola. I ran in, epic fight, beat him, showed heart, finished from 1 second left. Josh told me after, man, you got that. You're not only a great fighter, but you got that it factor. Your persona, your charisma. The way you're an actor in there, you're a showsman.
Now you're 7-0 now in Alabama. Did you change anything about your style that helped bring that about?
Yes, basically coming home, I learned a lot in Miami, trained with Josh and MMA Masters, high level gym, got beat up a lot. You got to get beat up to change. I come here, man, found God, and that's really what has humbled me in fighting, and it's just really let me not second guess myself in there and not think I don't deserve what I'm going.
And you fight under the name Chatatuska, right? Yes. Now, what does that mean? Where did that nickname come from?
Chatatuska means Choctaw warrior in my native language. And Chahata is actually Choctaw, but Chata is actually the maker of the Choctaw tribe. They were brothers of Chickasaw. He made the Chickasaw tribe, and there was Chata, and he made the Choctaw tribe.
Now, for the main event, you recently got a UFC contract. Dana White said he wanted you. How did that make you feel? I mean, that's got to be incredible.
Yeah, man. I knew going into the fight, and I knew walking in the ring. I looked at Dana, saw his smile, knew I had him. I won him over before the fight. So all I do is just win the fight, and when I heard it, it's just a dream come true, man. I still wake up every day like I just made it to the UFC.
Now, what do you got coming up? You got any bouts coming up, big fights, things we need to know about? And if you can, also tell us how we can follow you, if there's social media we can follow you on.
Yeah, man. Dana loved me. He had called my manager the next day after the fight. I wasn't even flying home. When can Brok fight again? I said, next month, October 12th, Tampa, UFC debut against Thomas Gifford, live on ESPN. You can follow me at Brok Weaver UFC on Instagram, at Brok B Weaver on Twitter, and my fan page on Facebook, Brok Chatatuska Weaver.
Brok, thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
You're the man.
Yep.
And we are back. Our second guests tonight are a mother-son duo that many of you will recognize. Their respective works of art in both written word and illustration have come together beautifully in this new book, The Tempestuous Trial of Mrs. Maybelline Merriweather. Please give a warm weekly show welcome to Michael and Sarah Hewes. Michael, we'll start with you.
Okay.
For those of us who don't already know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Gulfport native, lived here all my life. I've got 3 boys at home, a wife at home, the brother of 2 other brothers, and so lived here all my life and raised in a house full of birds, art, and literature, and so it kind of overflowed into what we do now.
And Sarah, you're his mom, right?
I'm his mother.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a professional artist, and I have been painting birds forever. And I do have 2 other sons, and we have had 23 dogs in my married life, not all at the same time.
Now, you kind of, I don't want to say moonlight, but your day job is like my day job. You're a lawyer like I am during your day job in Gulfport, yeah?
That's right, that's right.
And we're going to talk a little bit about your current book, but you had previously written Watermark.
I did.
Right?
Watermark came out in 2016. It's a legal thriller type novel based loosely on some events that happened post-Katrina. It's fiction, but it's based on some of the weird stuff I found washed up in my house. And so I'm like you, I'm always at work, traveling at night, and so when I'm stuck in hotel rooms, I write. And so that's kind of how it came about.
Now, before we talk about the book, does artistic expression run in your family?
Yes, it does.
It does. My brother Billy plays music. He plays in a band, and he writes songs, and some of the songs have been featured in some some Hallmark movies, and so we all kind of have a little artistic flair to us.
Was this something that you encouraged in the home, or?
Oh yes, I did.
Now, on to the book, the Tempestuous trial of Maybelline Merriweather.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about the story of the book, how it came about. I know it had something to do with a chicken or something in a dorm.
Well,
in a dorm
that's a different story. When I was in college, we had a chicken named Maybelline that was in the dorm for a while, but that's where we got the name from. But I was coming home from a deposition, and I started thinking about what would happen if a chicken got put on trial. And as I was driving home, I think it was from Greenwood, the first stanza came into my head, and over a period of the next about 10 years, the story came out. So it's about a chicken put on trial for stealing another bird's egg. She's represented by a mockingbird named Atticus, and so there's some Southern Gothic type references in the book, and it kind of came through there.
You got the whole kind of To Kill a Mockingbird
there's not a murder in it, but there's some serious allegations and some flirty cross-examinations, and I got to looking for an illustrator, and I asked Mom to do it. And she'd been painting birds all of her life, but as she likes to say, she'd never put pants on them. And so she did the first drawing, and we took it to the publisher, and he said, well, I love it. Can you do 40 more in the next, 2 months? And so the rest is her story.
So that's how the collaboration came about.
Yeah, it did.
And it's got to be something really special to be able to collaborate with your mom. I mean, that's really kind of a special.
It came out. Special. It came out last October, and so from October to December, every weekend we were together on the road promoting it, and that's a lot of togetherness.
So you guys have been doing a book tour.
We did one last year, and we're starting up another one this year. So last year it kind of came out, but it's copyrighted for this year, and so we're going to be hitting the road again between now and Christmas. Now,
you had already been like drawing or painting birds?
Yes.
What brought you? I mean, there's a lot of things people can paint or draw. What made you decide birds?
They're quite beautiful. I started painting hawks first, and very detailed drawings, very detailed paintings. So this was a huge step for me to paint it like this. I've never painted birds with clothes on, or jewelry, or high heels. So it was I had a clean slate though, so I could do anything I wanted to with them.
As far as the publishing is concerned, you had said something about how did that come about? Because a lot of times people it's really a daunting task to try to get published. You're saying that they approach you, or maybe did it have something to do with the fact you had the prior book? How did all that come together?
The prior book was self-published, but it's done pretty well for a self-published book. The publishing company knew that we were out hustling the first book and did a good job putting it out there. And I met with Scott Campbell at River Road in New Orleans, and he puts out quirky books like this. And it's a quirky book, and if you get it, you really get it. And if you don't get it, you don't get it at all. And so Scott met with us, and he liked it, and so we put together a contract, and she turned out the paintings in record time, and
that's Maybelline.
Just so if we can, Marty, I don't know if you can get a little zoom in here on some of the illustrations. I mean, it really is quite fantastic.
Yeah, she's all the talent of the duo.
Maybelline, for those who don't know anything about Maybelline, she really liked the men, and those three roosters that were on the page with Maybelline are having a fit because she just cast them aside.
Maybelline was a bit of a loose chicken in the town of Avian Mile. So she had a reputation that preceded her that was not exactly an ideal reputation.
I think I know this, Judge.
I think I do too.
So you said a book tour starting to come up. Where is it starting off? Do you already know what city you're starting?
We already started. We were in Monroeville, Alabama, home of Harper Lee, 2 weeks ago. And we're going to be in various bookstores. We usually go to Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and just hit the local bookstores up and down the states.
How has the book been received by family and friends, and of course others so far?
Mom?
I would say fabulously. They, everyone wants a Maybelline book.
And it's just one of those things. And you know what? With the holidays coming up, it seems like a fabulous thing. Whether it be a coffee table book or something. that would be a special treat for someone. So let's talk about the future a little bit. Do you have anything else in the works that you're working on now?
Yeah, I've got a book. I actually got an agent for this book out of New York, and I just finished a book called The Milk Wagon, and it's a John Hughes meets John Grisham coming-of-age story about 3 high school buddies in the 1980s who meet a new kid with some pretty bad secrets, and the whole book takes off from there. And so it goes on submission next week, which means it goes to the publishers to see if they're interested, and hopefully we'll get a sale, and you'll see it on a national scale next summer is what we're hoping for.
Do you have a working title for it yet?
The Milk Wagon.
Milk Wagon.
It's based on an old 1980s Suburban I used to drive around, and we had a lot of good times in that vehicle. So some of them are replayed in the book, as teenagers do.
And some of them we don't talk about.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My lips are sealed. Well, thank you both, Michael and
thanks for
Sarah
having
Hewes.
us.
Appreciate you coming out to the show, and we'll be right back.
Thank you for inviting us.
I want to thank Brok Weaver for joining us tonight. Of course, Michael and Sarah Hewes with their fabulous book. And taking us home tonight, Tyler Livingston and the Absolutes with their single, Live It.